Welcome to the call, everybody. Today is Saturday morning. It's April what? August the 22nd, I think. 23rd already. So, today's talk is going to be a good enough talk, and that we're going to mean that by the point that everything that we get from our society comes from people who see it from the perspective that there is not enough. We have a scarcity mentality, not enough to go around. Now, the interesting thing is that the richer people are, the more money and objects, etc., that they have, the more accumulation of wealth they have. That attitude of scarcity does not go away. In fact, it increases. The more you have, the more you want. And so, in order to understand this, I've got a story to start. And the story is about a young preacher man named Jake. And his church was a small church on the outskirts of a big city. And not far away was a mega church that had an auditorium big enough for 7,000 people. And Jake's little church was not big enough for him now. And so he became jealous of the great big church. And so what he did was that one Sunday morning, he went into the place and went into the back room where the deacons were counting the day's collections armed. And he drove out the deacons, one of which called the police. And the police arrived and nabbed him while he was still wrecking the place. Now, he was put into prison, and that the point is that the people in the congregation of his church supported him because they thought or knew that the deacons of the big church were all corrupt. Now, you can see that this story parallels a story of Jesus, but it also parallels all of the other stories in history. That, in fact, you can see that the Islamic religion is a religion of scarcity. There's 1.7 billion people who they claim statistically are Muslims, and that's not enough. They want to run the whole world. That Christianity also, there's not enough. But also governments are inadequate. There's not enough there. And that this goes back through all of history, and that let's use, before we go too deeply into the story, let's start talking about that in the ancient times around the Mediterranean, there were many cultures who had many gods, and all of the gods were in competition with each other for more people. That there was El, there was Ra, there was Isis, there was Jehovah, there was Zeus, and the pantheon, all of them. That in fact, there was a god named El who had also his own pantheon or his own group that has been referred to as the Elohim. And that in the Bible, it talks about that the Jews, or especially the Levites, had another God, and his name was Jehovah. Now, Jehovah was a jealous God. His people didn't have adequate land. His people got the short end of the stick. And so Jehovah started a war. You could say that, in fact, that Jehovah was a war god, a hot god. He was jealous. He was jealous especially of Baal or Baal. Now, that God and Jehovah had competitions. Now, the point is that there have been many people in the world, a few at least, who can see that all of those kinds of gods are little gods. They're jealous of each other. They want more and more. But there is another kind of a God that Jesus knew about, and so did Paul. Then, in fact, Paul gave a very good definition of what God is, and he used the word creation. Now, what is creation is not a creator. That, in fact, you could say that creation itself is not personal, and that it encompasses all the laws of physics, especially and including the law of cause and effect. And that Jesus talked about the kingdom of that God is within you, without. Behold, the kingdom of God is at hand, is all around. And so what mostly humans have done has had a little God of scarcity, and therefore everything winds up being scarce. Now, the name Abba that Jesus used, which translates to our Father, can actually be seen in the sense of if we are in creation, a part of creation, a member of creation, and that all of the others are also part of this, then we can see that creation is giving us life, giving us existence. And in that regard, we can see that creation itself, or the cosmos, or the world as a planet, is in fact our Father. And that it's big. It's really, really big. It's enormous, in fact. Not just the cosmos itself is enormous, but the planet Earth is enormous. If you don't believe that the planet Earth is enormous, try walking around it. Not just that, but even a city like Bangkok is enormous. It's unbelievably enormous. It's adequate. It's big. And the whole cosmos is also enormous, but we don't think of it like that. When we think of it, in fact, as my little piece of it, mine. But in fact, that's the big mistake that the Hindus have made, because they're the ones who also had the idea that God is the cosmos, but they personified it into Brahman. We personify it into the creator. And if we can personify existence itself as a God, then you can see how easy it is for you to personify your own existence, a me, a mine, an I. Now, when Jesus died on the cross, when he said one thing, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Guess what? He did not use Yahweh or Jehovah. He used El, which is the same word that the Arabs have for Allah. So if Jesus talked about Abba, and he also talked about El, then We can go and look at the temple in Jerusalem was neither El nor Abba, it was Jehovah. And the reason that I'm pointing this out is that story that I told about Jake is parallel to the story about Jesus breaking into the temple and wrecking the place, saying things like, you have turned this holy place into a den of thieves. And what I would like to point out with this is that Jesus may not have had much of anything to do with Jehovah, and that him breaking into the place was a story that they used for two reasons, and one of them is to identify him with Jehovah. And the other one is to give a rationale for his execution, his death, and let's say resurrection. But we also have stories in the Bible about Jesus having a father, and his name was Joseph. The whole idea of a virgin birth and dying on the cross and resurrection and he being a special son of a special God is all a little story. And it's based upon things like no sex babies and dead man walking and sky daddies. And we all have bought into religions that see things as small. But if we can take that attitude away and come to the attitude that both Jesus had and also Buddha, that I would like to introduce Buddha's attitude, is that he talked about it in the sense of Ityapata Jayata. Ityapapa Jayata actually means in the Pali that with this, that exists, and without this, that does not exist. And it's a range, it's a whole cosmos that, in fact, another word for it is called the Dhamma Kai, which means the full body of all Dhamma. Now, what we can really get into is that each and every one of us has a small mentality. We have a scarcity mentality that we see things as there's not enough of this, there's not enough of that. All governments are based upon scarcity. All kings don't have a big enough kingdom. All merchants don't sell enough. All wealthy people don't have enough. And so it winds up being a business system, a competition based upon scarcity. And everything about your life has been built in this quality of there's not enough. But Buddha and Jesus both were pointing at something completely different. And that is that our attitude of scarcity is backwards. And that what we need to do is to develop the mentality or the attitude of adequacy, that there is enough, that in fact it's abundant. Jesus was one who said, live your life abundantly. See things as big, as adequate, as good enough. This is the way that we can start seeing the world. But guess what? That inadequacy, that scarcity mentality has colored nearly every thought that you've had for your whole life. Basically, you have been talking yourself and thinking yourself into scarcity, into not having enough. And so what our practice is to start practicing that we got enough. There is enough. Not only enough, but it is abundant. But let's start with adequate, that you've got enough. And we have to practice this. What this is actually looking at is we can see the thoughts that we have, these hindrances or these unwholesome thoughts, are actually thoughts of scarcity, thoughts of not having enough, thoughts of wanting more. And that our practice then is to start intensively, consistently, over and over again, overriding that lie and start practicing the reality. The reality is that you do have enough. Everything is adequate. Wow, you've got enough. This we can call gladdening the mind or brightening the mind, because the mind is dull due to inadequacy. It doesn't have enough brightness, doesn't have enough gladness. So let's gladden the mind, brighten the mind, bring the mind up to the level that it deserves. Now, one of the qualities about scarcity is that it causes competition. It causes real competition at the level of making things dangerous. Why? Because everybody wants what everybody else has. And so we wind up then with not only in a sense of scarcity, but also fear that we're not going to get enough. And we've had those thoughts and we've had those feelings of fear and anxiety and jealousy all along, because that's the system that we're caught up in. And what we can practice is start to practice that you've got enough. You're okay as you are. You've got everything that you need. Everything is adequate. And if you keep practicing that, you begin to see, oh, well, I've got enough this, and I've got enough of that, and I've got enough of attitude, and I've got enough money, and I've got enough friends, and I've got enough air to breathe, and I've got enough water to drink, and enough of this and enough of that, and begin to see that every topic that we can come to, we've got enough. That attitude of enough is enough is enough means then that actually it's not just adequate, it's abundant, because everything is adequate, everything is abundant. And with that, we begin to develop the attitude of I've got so much that I'm overflowing. This is where the whole Buddhist concept of generosity comes from. It comes from having that attitude that you've got plenty, you've got enough, that you're not going to miss out on anything because you give gifts, give people donations, help people out. Now, we can say that real generosity is not the generosity of giving money. But really, if you have adequate joy, if you have adequate attitude, if you've got a winner's attitude about life, then you can share that with all of those other people who see their life as not enough, as inadequate. So this is the way that we actually can deal with people, is that we can see that we have enough. Now, if we are out in the world dealing with tens of thousands of people who are in that state of inadequacy, they've got jobs, they've got businesses, they've got cars that break down, and all of this kind of stuff, and they're going around miserable and poor me, and I don't have enough, I want more. That mentality is going to continue to seep into your mind, because you let it in. You've been letting it seep in all of these years. Why let it seep in anymore? So the Buddha would recommend, let's go spend some time in isolation. Let's go spend some time in seclusion, to let all of that inadequacy kind of mentality and thoughts and attitudes drain out of us, while we are practicing putting in, I've got enough. Everything is okay. Everything is enough. We gladden the mind. We throw out those inadequate thoughts, those hindrances, those unwholesome thoughts, and start having one wholesome thought after another, and every wholesome thought has the quality of enough. We've got enough. We've got enough. And so this is actually the way to practice, is to get away from that maddening crowd. And it's maddening because it's insufficient. It doesn't have enough. And start practicing that you've got enough. Keep thinking about it. I've got enough. I've got enough safety. I've got enough security. I've got enough comfort that I can, in fact, start to become satisfied with the way things are, because it's got enough. And so, with that satisfaction, practicing it over and over again, it begins to build up from just satisfaction into the state of success. You've got it made. You don't need anything. You can handle anything, no matter what comes up. You can handle. You can mess with it. You can take care of it. You're adequate. You're good enough. You're in fact, you've got life, living it abundantly. So once you get that state of mind ingrained, that you come out of that victimhood, and the victim is the one who says, I don't have enough and I need more help from some other people who are also inadequate victims to help me to get what I need. And we change that attitude to the attitude, I've got all I need. I don't need any help because I don't need anything. I've got everything that I need. I can take care of it myself. Everything is beautiful. Now, one of the things about that means that you have changed the self. You've changed the self from being selfish into being altruistic, from not having enough to becoming generous. You have a generous attitude towards life. And as we have that generous attitude towards life, we can, in fact, start to deal with other people in an adequate way. How do we deal with other people? Is by seeing that they are in the state of being inadequate and you're in the mental state of being adequate. Why don't you share some of your abundance with them? This is not the same as compassion. Compassion means that if they're having a pity party, you go and console them and have a pity party with them. Now, misery loves company. And so we could say that, especially for talking to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, that we need to develop a bit of rapport. And so when somebody comes in and says, ain't it awful? Ain't it this? And ain't it that bad, awful, everything? Then the psychologist can say, yeah, you're right. Everything is bad and awful. But, and then we can start looking at, well, not everything is bad. Not everything is awful. Let's start looking at some of the stuff that is, in fact, good. Let's look at some of the things that are adequate. And the more we investigate, the more we look, the more we see, we can begin to see that everything is, in fact, adequate. We've got enough. In fact, the only thing that we are deficient in is the attitude that we've got enough. The reality is that you've got enough. It's the mentality or the delusion. In fact, this is then basically the delusion. All greed, all ill will is delusional. What is greed? Greed is wanting something that you think you want or need. That's coming from a state of being inadequate. But when you're no longer delusional, you don't see things as inadequate, that you need stuff. You can see things in the sense that you've got enough. Now, I ask you, Eric, where is your greed when you've already got enough? When you're not just adequate, you're abundant. What do you want? How can we have needs and greeds and things like this when we've already got everything that we need?
I
So
want
this
to
is the,
share.
go ahead, I'm listening.
I want to share it.
You want to share. All right, well, you're already sharing. You're dripping wet. How can you want to drip when you're already dripping? It's your attitude. When your attitude's an adequate attitude that you've got everything that you need, you're already sharing that, because, in fact, when you're in a state of deprivation, when you're in a state of greed, when you're in a state of inadequacy, aren't we dripping that too? So we don't even have to want to share. Just being joyful is sharing enough. We don't have to want to share. We don't have to want to be generous. We're naturally generous. We don't have to develop generosity as a skill. Generosity comes from the abundant attitude that we have, which is another way of generosity, is to talk about metta. We see metta, many people who are, in fact, in an inadequate place, they think that there is not enough metta, and so that they have to develop it as a skill. They have to practice metta. Guess what? They're practicing metta from the state of inadequacy. Statements like, may all beings be happy, instead of saying, the world is great just the way that it is. It's already adequate. The only problem is that people have the wrong attitude, but their life is wonderful except for their attitude. So we don't have to actually develop metta. It comes with the territory of being adequate. It comes with the territory of being overjoyed, of being living your life abundantly. That wherever you go and whatever you touch turns to gold, literally. Gold, not in the sense of an element, but in the sense of everything is already okay. So you can begin to see those ordinary people as okay. They don't need anything. They just think that they do. They're delusional. And that's the only problem, is delusion. If everybody had the deep ingrained knowledge that they've got enough, there wouldn't be a problem. There wouldn't be anything. In fact, one of the questions that you can muse over is, what would civilization be like now if the human race had perpetually, from the past few thousand years or more, had the mentality of adequate? What would cities become? There wouldn't be any wars. There would be no wars, because the wars are all started with mentality of, they've got something we want. They feel secure and we don't feel secure. Let's attack them. And so all wars come from inadequacy. Guess what? All arguments come from the feeling of inadequacy. If you have the feeling of abundance, you're not going to argue with anybody. If you have the feeling of abundance, you're going to be joyful, even in the face of their pity party. So that's actually, if we can see it from that perspective of making that change from a life that is in the state of need, and everybody has that quality of being in a state of need, having little jobs, little gods, little religions, little bit of this and little of that. With that mentality, we cause each other great distress. But if each one of us starts to, and not just starts, but fully works on developing, and it's not really work, even the word work comes from inadequacy. Start to see it as playful. Become playful at developing play. Be playful at developing joy. Be playful at developing the mentality of adequate. Not just adequate, but abundant. That you're not just rich, you're stinking rich. What are you rich with? Joy, Dhamma, happiness. And if you start treating the world like wherever you go, it's a bright place. Then the people who were in the darkness in that place will begin to become affected by that joy. You don't have to fix anybody, they'll fix themselves when they're around adequate people. So, does anybody have, let's see, CV, Christina, tell me what you think about this.
I think about seclusion as being a tool and something to use when I sense that I don't know, coming from a place of want or desire or whatever, and using seclusion as a way to get rid of that thinking and wanting and competition and whatever.
So, this is a new way of looking at it, but it's actually what we've been practicing all along. But we always come into even our practice of anapanasati of, I'm wanting something. But if you come into the practice of anapanasati as, I don't want anything, wow, this is really great stuff. I really enjoy the practice of gladdening the mind, of brightening the mind, of actually seeing through the delusion of my inadequacy that I've been trained into, then we make our practice delightful. It's adequate, it's good enough. No problems, no worries. And so this is the main change that needs to be made. So, Christina, what do you think?
Everything is good enough.
Everything is good enough. Can you remember that?
Yes.
Yes. The whole point is practicing enough, often enough, so that we remember that we've got enough.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, Eric, what do you think? You got enough cat? You don't
Yeah,
need 2 or 4 or 6 more?
I got to. Yeah, thinking about good enough gets rid of expectations, makes the mood lighter, but also more settled. I like that.
Yes, because if we are settled, what actually you can see that as is that you've got enough that you don't have to become frantic trying to get something. That you've got enough. It's already here. You can just settle down. Wow,
Yeah,
what a relief it is. I don't have to go chasing things that I thought I needed because I don't really need anything. So,
yeah,
Edward, tell me about it.
Wow, this is nice. And
Yes,
I
it
mean it.
is. I know. Wow, this is really great to develop that attitude that we really already have everything that we need. We don't have to study psychology. We don't have to take any pills. All we need to do is to continually come back to everything is okay. That we don't have little gods, we've got a big one. And the best thing about it is that he provides, or not he, but it provides everything that we need. We've got enough air, got enough water, got enough gravity to hold us down. You've heard me say before that my God is gravity. That's the settled part. Gravity keep you settled. Gravity holds the water on the earth. Gravity holds the air. Wow, gravity does everything. Not only that, but it's all knowing. It's all powerful. You can't escape gravity. Even the SpaceX rockets, when they're going up, they're not escaping gravity. Gravity will always be there. That's what keeps the stars together as a star. That's what keeps the galaxies together. This is, in fact, the gravity as one of the four primary forces, but the important one that's not even mentioned is cause and effect. And cause and effect is really all powerful. It's all knowing. It's gravity is part of the cause and effect, and it's always there. What more do you want if you've got gravity? What more could you possibly need if you've got the cause and effect always in operation? Don't need nothing. We've already got everything we need. But we have to develop that as an attitude because we have been trained. You have been trained to see inadequacy right in the face of enough. Every first grader already knows enough. That, in fact, one of the things that I would recommend, they talk about reforming education. The way that I would reform education is give every 6-year-old a PhD diploma when he's 6 years old. And say, you've got enough education now. Go play. Go have some fun. Go discover new things, all in a happy way. But is school like that now? No. You got to work. You got to work to learn. All we really need to do is to learn to read, but read is easy enough when we like it, when we are adequate.
Yes.
So this is the way. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's one of the two hypotheses of acquiring language is enjoying your reading. You read a bunch because you just like it. You just like what you
Yeah,
read, and that's how billions of people do it.
exactly so. But if we don't like it, then it's a lot of work. If we think that this new language that I'm learning, I'm adequate, it's good enough, let's go play with it, then you'll learn that language. But if it's hard work, then you're slow to learn. You're coming from that mentality of it's a lot of work.
Oh
So
yes,
you,
and there is also the factor of anxiety. And that it's the input hypothesis. It's one of the hypotheses of the two groups of hypotheses that we have of how do we get language. And the more you have anxiety, the more that anxiety bars you from acquiring the language. So it becomes even more difficult.
There's another theory, which is cause and effect, which is it's accidental. The child says blah, 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 and then the parents say, hey, great job. You just said good morning. And it reinforces the child. So it's a happy accident where the child made some creative noise and then the parents celebrated it. So there doesn't need to be anxiety. There doesn't need to be a love. Cause and effect is happening. And the language develops, culture develops, and Dhammarato, we can paint it a gold with our assessment on an ongoing basis. Wow, this is nice.
but unfortunately, each one of us was trained in the state of inadequacy. When the child says blah 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 blah, the parents say, "Oh no, that's not right. You don't know the language. You're a little creep. You got to get your shit together." And this mentality that we're raised in then makes us feel inadequate. To where, in fact, if the parents knew that they themselves were adequate, that they already had all that they actually needed, then they would treat the child that way, that the child is good enough. Become playful with the child because the child is already okay. He doesn't need to do anything. Here's an example of that. Daddy walks into the child's room and it is a mess. The toys are on the floor. The clothing is all over the place. The room is a mess. But this word mess is the word the daddy says, not what the kid says. The kid says, this is a room and I'm having fun here. So if the daddy wants the room cleaned up, the best way to do that is get a bag, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 bags, and let's play basketball with these bags, and you throw the toys in this bag and the clothing in that bag and make a big game of it. Everything is already okay. Let's just have some fun. Let's just have some fun. This is the way to treat our children, is treat them like they're already okay. They've got everything that they already need. We don't have to force them or fix them to do anything. They're already okay. So, Edward, what would you think? How would you have liked to have been raised by family who thought that everything was already okay?
It would have been great. So yeah, fewer small guys, fewer small focuses, and more larger focuses on fun would be nice. And I hope I can do the same for the next generation too. Less small gods, more big gods like gravity and cause and effect. More joy. So there's 16 steps to Anapanasati. But which is the most important one, Dhammarato? Is it brightening the mind?
Well,
So
that
let me
question
focus on that.
comes out of inadequacy now, doesn't it?
It does.
Yes, it does. That state comes out instead of just saying, "Hey, this is great." That's what Anapanasati really is you take a deep breath and say, "Wow, that's a great breath." And then you have a thought of gladdening the mind. Wow, this is an okay, great enough mind. And then we can begin to see the feelings. Oh, I feel good enough. Everything is already okay. And so that's the one thing. It's not one of 16 steps. It's to recognize that everything is in a flux and that's okay. Everything lives and dies. And all we have to do is say goodbye. Relinquish, let it go, because I've already got enough. Just because something died doesn't mean that now we don't have enough. Instead, we can say everything is okay. So instead of picking apart the Anapanasati, let's actually say that it was picked apart so that you can see how it fits together. It all fits together in that state of adequacy. Everything is okay. Your feelings are okay. Your mind state is okay. Your mind's objects are okay. Your body is okay. The world is okay. Your friends are okay. Everything is fine. In fact, wow, everything is fine. Everything is okay. Not a problem in the world. That's how you practice Anapanasati. All 4 foundations of mindfulness are okay. Your feelings are okay. Your body's okay. Your mind is okay. Your thoughts are okay. Everything is all right. Not a problem in the world. That's how you practice Anapanasati. But we have to keep practicing it because if we're not careful, if we're not watchful, if we're not looking very closely, stupid questions like which item of Anapanasati is more important? Can you see that in fact is a statement based on one of them is better than the other, that some of them we need more than the other because we're inadequate in that area? So that's still the mentality of not good enough. So, Ivan, welcome, friend.
Hello. Hey, good morning.
Good
Was late.
morning. So, Tell me about it. Is everything all right? Do you have abundance, or are you in
Yeah,
scarcity?
yeah. When the mindful gets, it gets to scarcity, and it's always nice to remember again and again. Yeah, already enough. Yeah.
Michael, what do you think? Michael Swift. He's having too much fun. How about you, John? What do you have to say?
Yeah, I like it. So that's pretty good. I think that it's definitely something that we have to practice, right? That it's very easy sometimes when new things come up, right, to forget or to get distracted. You know, we very often think about things in terms of, oh well, what about this? This is really really severe. Let's say what if I have metastatic cancer? And it's all over my body, and I'm in lots and lots of pain. You know,
Well,
that's
you got
definitely
enough
something.
cancer, don't you?
I've
Got
definitely got
enough
enough
of this.
cancer, right? But it creates that mentality, right? Because we're not used to it of thinking, oh well, I don't have enough health. I don't have enough, you know,
You're
mobility. I
still
don't have enough
breathing.
wellness. Right.
Right. That's one that we then in fact look how many professions there exist with that mentality of being inadequate in health. Look at the
Yeah.
insurance company business. How about the hospitals? How about the doctors? How about the nurses? How about the pharmaceutical industry? How about the exercise industry and the gyms? Look at all of those people who are making a profit off of the people who think that their health is inadequate, but all of those people who were working in that industry still see their own life as inadequate.
Mm.
And so inadequate everywhere. And so when mom thinks that your grades are not adequate, she's going to fuss because she's in a state of not adequate. She's going to fuss at her husband. Her husband's going to feel bad, and he's looking for help. And so he finds his help in a bottle. And so everybody in the family winds up being in a state of inadequate. And all you have to do is say, wait a minute, I'm okay. But we have to keep doing that because we're going to get a whole bunch of inadequate kind of language coming in your direction from all directions because the whole
Yeah.
world sees things as not good enough.
I really
And
like
we
how
have,
you talk about this as like almost like a physical force. It makes me think not just of gravity, but of things like momentum, and we build momentum with the things that we cultivate, right? So if we're cultivating gladdening the mind, we're cultivating a feeling of adequacy, it's easier for that thing keep moving of its own, right? If we're adding momentum, to negative things within our mental state, then of course those negative things are going to gain momentum. That inadequacy gains momentum, right?
mm-hmm, right. So inadequacy has its own momentum, and we have to practice to turn that train around.
Yeah.
And so we have to practice a lot. We have to practice in seclusion. We have to get away from all of those people riding the unhappy train. And start practicing everything is okay. Everything is fine.
What that?
And if there's all right, Shepherd, what do you think?
Hello. Uh, I think it's really good. I just keep remembering it's good enough. Don't need to understand everything and keep practice as a mind.
Yes, you have been trained that things are not good enough. Your grades are not good enough. Your thoughts are not good enough. Everything is not good enough. So we have to practice that everything is good enough. That if we have the
Yeah,
attitude that our grades are not good enough, oh, poor me, my studies are hard. But if you have the attitude that everything is enough, then the studying becomes a fun because you already know everything you need to know. Now let's just play with a little more.
yeah. I watched your video last week. You talk about uh practice, perform, and play around, and that is really really wholesome.
Mm-hmm. Not having enough is unwholesome. Having enough is wholesome. Everything
Mm.
is okay. Everything is fine. We can gladden the mind and brighten the mind, and then the mind is bright enough, glad enough. Everything we see and everything we find is good enough.
Yeah.
So, Red, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I do see. Testing 1 2 1 2. Yeah, it is. If that's your base, that's good enough. If that's the base of your life, that's good enough. And the discovery. Oh, okay. Can I? Am I? Am I talking actually? No, no.
Yeah, you're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You,
you're
you go
fine.
So
from
yeah.
left, you have to side to right side to both sides, but any one of them is good enough. Go ahead.
Oh, what video? Okay. Wait, I'm in mono probably. Ah, no worries. It is good enough. If that's the base of your life, that's good enough. What else do you need? The rest is extra, but you're free to do it if you see that's appropriate. Just letting the design version go and see, oh, that looks good. You can see Dhammarato doing that actually. You can see you do it. You just do it on the chat. You do it in chat. Oh, when you did the kaching meme, like kaching, and you just kept doing it. But that's good enough. And that is even cooler because you don't need to do the kaching. But it's everybody just gets even. It's the good enough that you just keeps going, just keeps coming for you. Like I even there's a you can actually search for monk to millionaire to monk. And you can actually search that on YouTube. It basically could be, oh, maybe the guy became a monk, and that becomes a good enough state that the guy has, that the person has in life. The guy just sees the good stuff. Oh, okay, that's appropriate, and that's appropriate. Or it sees that, oh, my practice is actually incomplete when it becomes a millionaire, and then he becomes the monk again. But all of those states they look good enough. What do you think about that term of monk to millionaire to monk?
Well, the millionaire normally has the quality of money. That's one of the reasons why I generally use the word wealthy, because wealthy, stinking rich, doesn't necessarily mean about money. It has to do with an attitude.
Hmm.
And so the monk has the attitude of everything is okay, and the millionaire is still wanting another million.
Yeah, you can actually see that the monk to millionaire to monk, the guy just saw the $1 million or the $10 million. Could be a deca millionaire, I don't know. And then the guy just sees it and then just becomes a monk again because it's good enough. Looks like it.
So, Michael Swift, are you back yet? All right. So, does anybody have any last things to say? How about you, Eric?
I've said enough.
We've said enough already. All right. Go ahead, Sheep.
Well, I have a little bit question. Well, because I listening to videos last week, and we talk about hanging out with wholesome people. Uh, and some people that I used to meet, they are not that wholesome. Can I hang out with them happily or like changing? I'm not sure about that.
Well, the better thing for you to do in the place that you are is start developing the habit of being around wholesome people so that they can remind you that you've already got enough because you've been trained that you're not good enough. So now is the time to train yourself over and over again. This is good enough. You've got enough. You're wealthy. You got everything you need. Of all the people on this list, how many of you have been flying in an airplane in the past 2 weeks? Only Sheep. He's the only one who's been flying in an airplane. Isn't that adequate? Aren't you good enough?
Yeah, it's good. It's good thinking to have good enough attitude. Even my study, sometimes when I go my list, I will just say, "Oh, it's too hard. It's too hard to study right now. I'm not gonna be good enough when study because I'm tired." And all that is, I just made that shit up in my head.
You just made
Sometimes,
that shit up, right?
yep,
That's the
definitely.
inadequate. You're always in a state of it's not good enough, making excuses to not have fun studying.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, when I see it now.
All right. John, do you have any final words to say?
No, sir.
Everything is good enough, huh? Everything is fine.
Yeah, we're good here.
All right. One last crack at it. Christina, what do you think?
Everything's all right. Everything's good enough.
Everything is fine. Everything is good enough. Right. So remember today's talk about that you have been trained by your religions, by your government, by your school, by your teachers. Everything is coming from the state of want, needing. Things are not good enough. And so you have to practice coming out of that. Yeah. If you can see that one thing is that everything really is good enough, then that's all the practice that you need. But you need to practice that over and over and over again because it's so easy to go back into those hindrances of things are not good enough. We worry, we get doubtful. And in fact, you already know enough. All you need to know is it's okay to be happy right now. Let's do that. That's all the information that you'll ever need is right now is good enough. Wow, what a relief it is. Things are not broken. So that's your practice. Keep practicing. See that inadequacy, and when you see it, you can change it. I'm already good enough. I don't need to wallow in my own self pity about what I don't have. I can enjoy what I do. So, anybody got any last things to say? All right, Mikey, have you got You got something to say?
Enough already. Yes, this has been a pleasant call indeed. And thank you, friends, for being here. And if you're watching this on YouTube, this Sangha is also good enough. So feel free and welcome to come join us here on these calls. We enjoy making friends here. As Dhammarato has been talking about, there's just been calls every day now, throughout the day even. In fact, I don't remember the last day that I haven't seen somebody having some sort of call here. So, come join, come listen. You don't have to stay much. If you don't want to, that's okay. It's nice to just hear the Dhamma and hang out with noble friends online. And that also makes it easier to get an idea of how to find someone noble in the real world as well. Yeah. So yeah, come join us, have a good time, and at least a good enough time. And yeah, remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, give this video a like, and yeah, you can find these on Spotify, iTunes, whatever podcasting platform you use. And yeah, I also wanted to mention someone started a poetry channel, and people have been having fun sharing Dhamma style poetry there, and it's been a joy to read. So yeah, go check out the poetry channel here on the Dhamma Friends Discord. All right, friends, thank you so much again. Take care.
Thank you.
And thank you all. We'll see you soon. See you online.
Bye.
See you all. Thank you.